Irvingman! We've had multiple stories this season featuring Jimmy, and we'll wrap the season up with another one. If you're familiar with Mark Twain's story, The Prince and the Pauper, you'll enjoy this.
Listen to the swine.
Prime Minister. Hail Markle.
Get out, Markle, or die. Burgonia wants no dictator.
The guy on the left is Marco. The guy on the right is General Burkhalter, the Prime Minister of Burgonia. The guy in the middle is there to keep the other two from bumping into each other. A rogue general has raised an army and taken over the capital. Time for Marco to head out the emergency exit. The others will run interference for him while he gets away. Meanwhile, at the Daily Planet, Perry has some major information about this revolt.
And they smuggled Prince Gregory into this country when he was just a baby?
Right after his father's assassination.
And now, suddenly, he's become an international front-page figure. I'll get right on it, Chief.
Just a minute, Kent. Now, this boy's just about Jimmy's age. It's possible that he might talk more freely to Jimmy than he would to you.
After watching this several times, I think I have it sorted out. Gregory's dad was ruler of this Burgonia when he really wanted to rule nearby Geranium. No, that's not right. Anyway, someone murdered his dad and took over the country, most likely our pal Marco. Going by the way he dresses, I'm going to say it was a military coup. Loyalist forces smuggled baby Gregory to the U.S., where he grew up, got an education, learned who he is and what he should be doing, and that brings us to the present time when Jimmy, not Clark, gets to interview him.
Kent will go long, just in case you get everything fouled up as usual.
Oh, now, Jimmy, it's your story. I'll just be outside. You can handle it.
It's your story. Kent will just go along to ask the questions, write down the answers, and transform them into a story. That's all. It's your interview.
Now, if you get an exclusive out of this, it might mean a trip to Burgonia as a follow-up for the coronation.
Yes, sir.
How about that?
Well, how about it?
How about it? What's there to see in Burgonia besides the coronation? Anything? Or will this be one of those wonderful excursions to an exotic land where you get to see the airport, the place where the job is, and then the airport again?
Very young for a reporter, aren't you, Jim?
I don't know. You wouldn't say you were too young to be a real prince, would you, Your Highness?
Hey, this is America. Call me Greg.
Thank you.
What else can I tell you don't already know?
Look out.
Clark was doing just what he said he would, hanging out down on the street while Jimmy interviewed the prince. He happened to look up at the apartment with his X-ray vision and spotted a bomb under the coffee table. Once he's dealt with it, he asks the prince to let him put police protection around him. The prince says, "No, my plans are already made. I have a secret way of getting into my country and it's all arranged." For obvious reasons, he's not going to tell a reporter what those plans are, and Jimmy's fine with that. But Greg is upset. He didn't even manage to thank Superman for saving him.
He stands for everything I'd like to put into practice in my own country. All the principles of free play and democracy and freedom that I've learned about in America. I'd like you to take this royal ring and pass it on to Superman next time you see him.
Jimmy tries to protest because Superman doesn't take payment or recompense or gifts or any of that stuff. He does it because he can and therefore he should. But Greg is insistent, even if all Superman does is keep it as a souvenir. It's hard to say no to a prince, so Jimmy says, "Mind if I wear it until I see him again? It's the best way to keep me from losing it." Okay, he didn't put it quite that way, but we all know that's what he had in mind.
The ring of a real prince. I wonder how it'd feel to be a prince for a while.
As the man said, be careful what you wish for. Greg won't change his plans even now that he's been discovered and marked for assassination. He told Jimmy he plans to be back in Burgonia in about a week. He wouldn't be any more specific for very obvious reasons. Jimmy tells Clark all about it in the car.
Superman was there.
He was? Well, why wasn't I there, too? I thought I heard a disturbance.
An attempted assassination.
You don't say.
I do say.
It's a good thing Clark isn't driving. In such an excited state, he could run off the road.
Well, we'll go back to Planet, and if this story is half as good as you seem to think it is, we'll do a follow-up and cover the coronation in Burgonia.
Burgonia? Wow.
Perry already said the same thing, but it's possible Jimmy didn't hear it. You know these mischievous boys and putting things in their ears.
You'll have to speak up. I've got beads in my ears.
Cut to the Burgonian airport.
I beg your pardon. Could you tell me the time?
Well, I don't know in your country, but by my watch, it's 9:21.
Thank you.
Nobody in Burgonia knows what the prince looks like, so they're going by that ring. No sooner is Jimmy settled in the hotel than these two come to get him and take him to the Prime Minister. Perry sent Clark off to find a Colonel Gubeck. He's the guy who's been more or less running the country and the guy who led the revolt against Marco. Jimmy is going to spend the rest of the episode trying to explain to anyone and everyone that he's just plain Jimmy, not a prince, and it's not his ring, he's just keeping it for someone. It hasn't yet occurred to him that even he wouldn't believe a tale like that. They aren't acting threatening. In fact, if anything, they're too deferential. Jimmy figures it might make a good story, and since he's a foreign correspondent now, there's no reason not to go with him and see what shakes out. They put him in a sitting room of sorts, and with nothing else to do, he starts playing with the sword he found on the wall.
Bow down before your king.
Gregory, at last you have come back to me.
Who are you?
Gregory, do you not remember your Tina, the Baroness d'Amour?
Oh, no, Baroness, I'm not who you think
I was to be your betrothed. It was arranged by our families when we were children together.
Oh.
They've held me here since the Revolution. Now that you return, my darling, I will be free. We can mount the throne of Burgonia together.
You know, despite the attempted murder and all the rest, the job does seem to come with a few perks. Gentlemen, are you familiar with the word knock? That guy with the Prime Minister is Colonel Gubeck, the guy Clark was supposed to talk to, but he says he's never heard of any Clark Kent. We'll find out later that he's pretending. Everybody is fawning over the prince, promising their loyalty and all the rest, and the best thing Jimmy could do right now is leave that ring on the table and slip out the back door. Without Tina, however depressing that thought might be. But it's too late. The colonel reports that the palace is surrounded by guards and nobody goes in or out until time to head to the capital for the coronation. I'm reminded of a little ditty that I read in the original Conan the Barbarian books by Robert E. Howard. It was called The Road of Kings. The relevant part goes like this. When I was a fighting man, the kettle drums they beat. The people scattered gold dust before my horse's feet. Now I am a great king. The people haunt my track with poison in my wine cup and daggers at my back. Anybody who wants to be a ruler over anything should study history first, then ask themselves, is this really what I want?
I will take my leave now. Your Highness?
Hold on. Before you go, show me how to work the lock on that door. Then stay out unless you're invited. Rather than having absolute power, he's a prisoner in his own palace and he can't even have any privacy with his girlfriend. Welcome to royalty in the 20th century.
I'm not who you think I am.
Oh.
But I suppose I could be for a while. He'll spend some time basking in the luxury of Tina's adoration. Then it's time for a snack.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Coming from the United States, the prince should be delighted with such a confection. Have you put the poison? I mean,
It is strong enough, Excellency, to kill 10 men.
Once he's dead, Marco will return and take over again. Because that's exactly what the people want, right? To guys like this, it doesn't matter. With Marco in charge, they get to be big shots and reap all the benefits of being big shots. If Gregory takes control and brings about the democratic reforms that he wants to, they're demoted to regular public servants. And who wants to do that? You guys can leave any time, thank you. I know you know where the door is. You eventually learn to knock on it before barging in on me. They aren't taking the hint, and Jimmy isn't going to press the issue. But our conspirators have a problem.
You share with Tina? See? 2 straws like I have seen in the American moving pictures.
Yeah, if she dies with him, it could be a big, big problem. Now they aren't sure what to do. The hotel desk told Clark that Jimmy had left and told him with whom. Superman just arrived.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Who are you?
My name is Clark Kent. I'm an American newspaper man.
He was at the airport. He came from America with Gregory.
Something I don't think I've ever mentioned before, or if I have, it's been a very long time. Did anybody else notice how many of DC's original superheroes had two first names? Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, Barry Allen. I don't know if it was deliberate or just a thing that happened, but it makes me smile every time I think about it. Now suddenly Jimmy's going into an act.
Who dares to create such a disturbance? Bring the interloper before me. Right now. Am I the prince around here, or am I not the prince around here?
Let's go with not. You'll live longer.
Clark Kent. Oh, yes, I remember him. He's the poor man's Jimmy Olsen. What can I do for you, my good man?
Well, you're very kind, Your Highness.
He says, I'm actually quite thirsty. Might I snitch a sip of that soda?
Be my guest. It's all right. He really is a friend of mine.
Thank you, Your Highness. Thank you, Your Highness. That was delicious.
Good thing the poison was flavorless so it didn't spoil it.
From the looks of things, Prince, you seem to have been living things up here.
Prince? Oh, yes. Prince. Avant.
Once the three stooges are gone and Tina has also left, they can talk.
I saw Colonel Gubek, and he told me the arrival of the real Prince Grigori is expected momentarily.
But Colonel Gubek was just here, and he thought I was Grigori just like the rest of them.
Jimmy, he was only acting. He knows if the others think that you're the prince, the real Grigori will get a chance to slip into the capital without being observed.
In other words, Grigori is the fisherman. Those guys are the fish. You're the worm. And yes, it's true sometimes the worm does get eaten, but not always. Take heart and hope you're one of the lucky ones. It's dangerous, but Jimmy says if it'll help Greg, I'll do it. Clark says, I'll be right here with you.
Your Highness, may I speak to you alone on a very confidential matter of state?
Don't mind me.
Why, certainly, Valens.
I'm concerned for your safety, Your Majesty. What do you know about this American newspaperman, Clark Kent?
Clark Kent? Why, he's one of the best newspaper reporters in the world.
That's not all he is. He's also a hopeless meddler in assassination plots.
Mr. Valens. Excuse me, Your Highness.
Told you.
Rigo!
It was an accident. I was looking for a rat which had run behind the tapestry. We have been troubled with rats lately.
Yes, I know, and very unpleasant things to have about, rats.
Grigori spent the rest of his days trying to find the rat that bent his sword and learn his secret.
What are you doing?
Preparing your cigarette, Your Highness.
But I don't smoke.
This is impossible, Your Highness. Tobacco is our most extensive crop on export, in which your people take great pride. It is traditional that the rulers of Burgonia smoke the royal tobacco.
Yeah, it's got an explosive charge in it. Clark can hear the bad guys talking about it through the door after everybody leaves.
Excuse me, Your Highness, but you're much too young to be smoking. You might stunt your growth.
Your Highness.
Your Highness.
These guys are too ridiculous for words. The thing to do is run in all frantic because you thought you heard a kaboom, not go in smiling and happy because you thought you heard a kaboom. This gaggle of geniuses thinks they know what's best for the country.
Who was strong enough to kill a whole army of men?
Hail, Marco.
Hail, Marco!
I have returned because I received your message that you hold Prince Grigori a prisoner. Have you disposed of him yet?
No, Your Excellency. We have tried, but the prince seems to bear a charmed life.
In this corner, Marco, the brutal dictator. In this corner, Grigori, prince and would-be reformer. All right, gentlemen, I want a good, clean match, no illegal holds, and you know the rule. First one to arrest the other gets to run the country.
Always you do things in tricky, devious ways, Valen.
What is so difficult about taking the prince out and shooting him?
I have a feeling that joke was already old when this episode was made, but they still made it work.
Your Highness, you are to come with us, and I warn you, it is useless to resist.
No, no, no.
Remove the Baroness. Lock her in her room.
Come.
No, I won't go.
Come.
Let me go.
You
Mr. Valentine.
keep out of this, Mr. Kent. You will not interfere. For your own safety, you will remain here with the door locked.
Jimmy knows what this means, and he's not interested in going. If only he had a choice. While Clark is changing to Superman and bending the bars on the window to get out, these guys, along with Marco, have Jimmy in front of a firing squad. I asked this question in the Time Tunnel episode about the Battle of New Orleans. Why does it take a whole squad of soldiers to shoot one guy? I figure they must all be really bad shots, so they gather a bunch of them together in hopes that one of them will hit the target. Seems to me it might be a tad more efficient if you just teach you guys to shoot straight, but what do I know?
Fire! Kill him! Kill him, whoever he is! Kill him! Kill him! Kill him, whoever he is! Kill him! Fire! Fire! Arrest these two!
By the way, Marco, meet Prince Burgoria. I think he'd like to have a talk with you.
Here. This has caused me nothing but trouble. It was meant for you, from Prince Grigori.
In token of my gratitude for your saving both of our lives, I hope you'll accept it.
You're very kind, Your Highness. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Even Superman doesn't refuse a gift from a prince. We just have one little thread to tie up.
Darling. Darling.
Baroness, like I've been trying to tell you, you got the wrong guy. This is Prince Grigori.
I'm sorry.
Welcome home, darling.
Don't worry, Jimmy. I'm sure with enough time she'll get over you and learn to accept her fate. That's it for Season 3. As I said at the beginning of the season, switching to color ate up so much budget they could only afford to do a half season's worth of shows. To fill the rest of the season, they reran old episodes from the previous seasons. It's a little strange that they made the move when almost nobody had a color TV, but I wonder if they were looking ahead to syndication a ways down the line after color started catching on. They knew they had something here, and they were right, as evidenced by the fact that we're talking about it right now, as well as the fact that you can probably turn on a TV channel somewhere and they'll be airing it. So I think I'm going to give our producers and other powers that were the benefit of the doubt. I think they were playing the long game, looking well beyond the first airings to what they knew would be coming in about 10 years or less. It cost them a lot in the beginning, but I have a suspicion that before too long, it made back the original investment and a lot more, and continues to. I'll be taking a little break, and then we'll return with Season 4. See you then. Thanks for watching, kids, and remember, clicking that like button is cool. Subscribing is even cooler. Leaving a comment is as cool as the coolest person you know. And becoming a patron makes you almost just like Superman. So don't hesitate. Do it today. Until next time. But they got right. Oh, man, no.